think like funneling money to his business. I mean, he did everything. Anyway, he leaked the message. Oh my God, he's
Pouring
such a bratty.
Nobody else wanted to say that, and the press thought it was terrible that I made that statement. But if I didn't make that statement, we'd still be paying. You know, we were paying for NATO, most of it, almost all of it, maybe all of it for years. So I'm going to see President Zelensky tomorrow, and thank you all very much.
Oh, so he is linking up with him. He is linking up with him. I thought he said he wasn't going to, and then he leaked the message. W collab.
I thought you had the worst mayor ever that we had prior to him. I will say this. I watched about a year ago when he talked about how the illegal migrants are hurting our city and the federal government should pay us and we shouldn't have to take them. And I said, you know what? He'll be indicted within a year. And I was exactly right, because that's what we have. We have people that use the Justice Department and the FBI at levels that have never been seen before. So I wish him luck. I don't know anything about what he did, but I told a lot of people right over there, that group was saying, you know, sir, you were right about that. When they mentioned that, I said, they came in and he was pretty strong about it. He said, this is really unfair to make us carry this burden. We shouldn't be doing this. This is New York City. I mean, your parks are loaded up. I just passed recently Madison Avenue, the Roosevelt Hotel. It's like nobody would recognize it. That's Midtown. But he came out very strongly against it. He was right.
Yeah, that's why they indicted him, because he was anti-undocumented migrant.
And I said, he will be indicted within a year, and that's what happened. And I noticed the indictment's very old. It goes back a long time. Well, I had the same thing. They went way before the statute of limitations. So I wish him well, but I said that he will be indicted because he did that. You take a look, that's what they do. These are dirty players. These are bad people. They cheat, and they do anything necessary. These are bad people. And we need an honest Justice Department. We need an honest FBI, and we need it fast. Yeah.
Keir Starmer, the UK Premier.
Yes, he's coming tonight.
What do you think of him? Some of his colleagues in government are quite critical of you.
Well, I'm going to see him in about an hour, so I have to be nice, right?
Yeah.
But I actually think he's very nice. I think he ran a great race. He did very well. It's very early, but he's popular, and I'll be seeing him, and I'll send you a regards.
He's not popular.
Who are you with? Who are you with?
I'm with GB News in the UK.
Okay, good.
Would you rather Nigel Farage had a bigger role?
Well, I think Nigel is great. I mean, I've known him for a long time. He had a great election, too. He picked up a lot of seats, more seats than he was allowed to have, actually. They acknowledge that he won, but for some reason you have a very strange system over there. You might win him, but you don't get him. Nigel is a fantastic person.
Mr. President.
Yeah, it's GB News, Chad. It's their fake Fox News in the UK.
Oh, then I should immediately cancel my appointment. No, he knows. He knows I understand. Look. I hate to see the carnage. If I were president, it never would have happened. Russia would have never attacked Ukraine. Never, ever. And by the way, President Xi would have never even thought about Taiwan, which he's thinking about very seriously now, flying planes over it every single day. But President Putin would have never attacked. When I look at the horror show that's gone on, and the level of death is far greater than what is being reported. When you look at those cities, they're all knocked down, those beautiful, gorgeous golden domes, they're shattered and lying on their side, never to be replaced again. You can't ever replace that, 2,000 years old. When you look at the heritage of that really very vibrant country in so many different ways, and you see how it's been so broken, the people...
Ukraine, a very vibrant country.
Where they have to use old soldiers, old men, and young boys because they're running out of soldiers. It's a very terrible thing. And then you see that the United States is paying for most of it, and Europe is not chipping in. And all you have to do with Europe is the same thing I did with NATO. Say you have to pay. And if you say you have to pay, they will. It's very unfair to the United States, but I look forward to seeing him tomorrow. We'll see. I do believe, I disagree with him. Well, he doesn't know me, but I disagree. But I will say this. I believe I will be able to make a deal between President Putin and President Zelensky quite quickly.
But what does that look like? What does that look like? What does that
I don't want to tell you what that looks like.
The Vice President suggested today that your strategy with Ukraine amounts to surrender to Russia. How do you respond to that?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And it's not a surrender. What my strategy is to save lives. I want to save lives. Millions of people are dead. millions more than they even think about. And it's not my fight, but it is a fight to save humanity.
Would you encourage
that is a
Zelensky to give up
that is a
territory to
terrible. Let me explain. That is a terrible war that would have never happened, and it didn't happen. I even have Democrats. I watched
What?
them on Deface the Nation and some of the shows this weekend.
Russia
And
never
they said,
invaded
well,
Ukraine.
we agree that it wouldn't have happened if Trump were president. I was very generous of them. But it would have never happened. That's what bothers me even more. There was no reason for that war to happen, but it did happen, and millions of people are dead, including soldiers from both sides. It's so sad to see it, and I'll meet with President Zelensky and we'll see what happens, but I believe I can work that out. It would have been, I will say this, it would have been a lot easier to work out prior to the start. And Putin never, ever even thought about going in. And it was the apple of his eye. Doing very well. A very good relationship. Despite the Russia hoax, it was a total hoax. But we had a very good relationship. Fortunately, otherwise we could have ended up in war over that. It's very dangerous. You know, when you make up stories like that, it's very dangerous. The laptop from hell was very dangerous. But Putin told me often, it's the apple of his eye. But I said, Vladimir, don't even think about doing it. He would have never done it. And then, of course, through stupid oil policies and energy policies where oil get up to almost $100 a barrel, Putin said, wow, I have a lot more money than I thought I had. And he prosecuted the war. But even if it went up, and it wouldn't have gone up like that, that's what caused inflation, that and stupid spending for the Green New Deal, which was a Green New Scam, turned out. Do you notice that they don't ever mention anything about environment anymore? What happened to the environment? They don't mention that the ocean's going to rise a quarter of an inch over the next 500
This
years.
is like good
They don't
Trump,
mention it.
okay?
Oh, it's incredible.
Like good for his own audience and good messaging.
What they should start mentioning is nuclear warming. Because we're in grave danger.
That right there is like old school Trump using the Democratic incompetence against them to be like, what happened? Do you not care about the environment no more? What's going on there? Or maybe it was fake and you know it. It's like exactly the type of messaging you should be hammering on, like immigration too, which he does a little bit more.
October 7th would have never happened. Iran had no money. I guess that's probably why you hear the stories about Iran. Only a consequential president would have this happen. Only a consequential president. But Iran would have made a deal with us. It would have been a great deal for them. The only thing is they cannot have nuclear weapons. And we would have had it because Iran had no money. During my administration, they were broke. And they would have made a deal and they would have been happy. And they would have had an unbelievable civilization. But it didn't work out that way because of a thing that was very sad to watch. That was the election. Very sad thing to watch.
You deal with them now after everything's happened.
Make a deal with who? Make a deal with who?
You try to make a deal with Iran sometime if you're reelected?
Sure, I would do that. Yeah, I believe in getting. It doesn't.
Well, are you hyping him up?
I have a.
I think
I have a great memory, but it's a memory.
I also hate migrants. That's why I'm hyping him up. And not actually offering sound analysis. A lot of what Trump is saying is really horrible. Okay, like horrible on the moral grounds. But sometimes he is still capable of presenting a genuine threat in terms of his messaging. That was one of those moments where he did it, where he had a good one.
After the election, they could have done that too, but they had no idea how to go about it. They could have done it because I gave them a country that wanted to make a deal. They had to. There was no money to Hamas. There was no money to Hezbollah because Iran didn't have the money. Now Iran has $300 billion. They made it all in the last 3.5 years. The sanctions came off. They made it all in the last 3.5 years. Plus, they essentially have Iraq as a subsidiary, and Iraq has $300 billion. So Iran is a very rich country. They have $600 to $650 billion, including Iraq. Iraq doesn't like it when I say that, but that's true. They're really a subsidiary because foolishly Bush wiped out. You had two forces, two powerful forces. One of those forces got wiped out. And now the other force, after 1,000 years walks in and just essentially takes it over. So it's very sad to watch. But Iran now is a big force because they're very rich. Iran was not rich at all. Iran didn't have the money to take care of the various organizations of terror. Okay.
Yesterday, the UN General Assembly speaking at the UN tomorrow. What would you do differently to prevent the Middle East?
Well, you have to have that ended one way or the other. The world isn't going to take it. You have to have that ended, and I would think that we're getting close to a point where maybe it can end pretty soon. But you're going to have to end. That's unacceptable. The whole thing over there is unacceptable. That's another one. October 7th would have never happened. Would have never happened. Ukraine and Russia would have never happened. Think of it. Would have never happened. Inflation would have never happened. Think of the world. The Afghanistan pull-out in that way. We would have pulled out, but we would have pulled out with dignity and strength. I'm the one that got it down to that number. But I would have kept Bagram, because Bagram is this massive Air Force base that we built many, many years ago with billions and billions of dollars, the most powerful runways that can hold more load than any other runway in the world. And we walked away from it. And it wasn't Afghanistan that was the problem. We walked away from a great military base that we built to the highest specifications that was 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. We are being run by Kamala, who is grossly incompetent. All you have to do is look at her interview last night, look at her interview with Oprah, look at her interview with the gentleman from Pennsylvania. All you have to do is look around and you'll see it. We had 4 years of incompetent leadership as a country sustain another 4 years. Thank you very much.
Are you going to pull your
I don't know this.
Terrible pause.
Some of its own land to Russia in order to end the war?
We'll see what happens.
What's your message to those tomorrow?
Let's get some peace. We need peace. We need to stop the death and destruction. Don't you think? Wouldn't that be nice? Huh? Well, we're going to meet a lot of people. Many of the leaders have been calling me, and they want to...
You can't fucking just be like, Democrats just want to continue the death machine in Ukraine
leading in the
because they're getting paid, because they're making money off the military-industrial complex, and like they don't want to have any sort of conversation with the enemy in this circumstance. But all wars end with treaties. The reason why he can't say that is because he's also obviously a slave to the same exact corporate interests. He's also a slave to the military-industrial complex. So that's precisely the reason why he can't even like adequately message himself as like around this issue. Same goes, obviously, I mean, for Israel, he can't say it because he is deeply in the pockets of Miriam Adelson.
Hi Sam and Matt. This is Stephen in Dublin, Ireland.
Stephen in Dublin, Ireland. What's happening, Stephen?
So I listen to and watch quite a lot of politics in America. I listen to your show.
You guys,
New York City Mayor Eric Adams, the mayor of the greatest city on the planet, responsible basically for a standing military that I believe is like the 7th largest army on the planet, like the NYPD, with its own submarines. Mayor Adams is in trouble. He's been in trouble for quite a while. He has had a litany of scandals throughout his entire 3-year tenure so far, and one of those scandals is now finally coming to fruition. The Mayor Adams did a crime. What was that crime? Loving Turkey too much. And I do not mean the deli meat. I mean the country, Turkey.
City Mayor Eric Adams is facing federal charges after being indicted by a grand jury. Those charges have just been unsealed. They include bribery, wire fraud, conspiracy, and accepting improper campaign contributions for nearly a decade. I want to bring in senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky, who's there at City Hall. Aaron, what's the latest on these charges?
Well, they are, as you outlined, Diane. They include bribery, wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and soliciting improper foreign campaign donations. And importantly, these involve not only his time as mayor and while he was running for mayor, but the charges predate even that and stretch back nearly a decade to conduct that's alleged while he was the borough president in Brooklyn. And it had long been rumored that there was alleged corruption at the time Adams was the Brooklyn borough president, but he has never been charged until now. The indictment contains images of hotel suites and other benefits that the mayor allegedly took as he was soliciting some of these donations. And the charges all.
If it's wrong to love the nation of Turkey, then put me in jail. I don't want to be right. Then I'm wrong. And guess what? Eric Adams is also in the right in the story. Free my mans! This is racism. This is white supremacy. This is the long dick of the law, okay? I'm sorry that baklava all of a sudden is a big problem, okay? He just simply said doner is a Turkish invention and so is baklava. And they came down hard because guess what, chat? The FBI run by Greek Armenians. Everybody knows that the FBI has been overtaken by both the Greeks and the Armenians simultaneously, and they came after him because he loved Turkey too much.
Also say that he accepted donations from Turkey in exchange for taking an official step, and that is trying to get the fire department to speed up its inspection of the new Turkish consulate across from the United Nations on the east side of Manhattan.
Wow. Oh, I'm sorry. He wanted to be efficient. Dude. Oh, yeah, he got Armenian genocide denial bribery, which was pretty funny. Like, of course he did. Because of course he did, okay? We're going to talk about the serious stuff in a second. Hold on.
That had long been understood to be part of the investigation, but these charges make clear the conduct, as alleged, is much broader than that, Diane.
And Mayor Adams has denied all wrongdoing. How is he responding now that this indictment's unsealed?
We haven't heard from the mayor since the indictment was unsealed mere minutes ago, but we do expect the mayor to make remarks outside Gracie Mansion, where he's been huddled with advisors, attorneys, and aides. The mayor, in remarks before the indictment was unsealed, called these charges entirely false. He insisted he was innocent, and he suggested that this is political because he was critical of the Biden administration over the way it handled the migrant crisis.
You pre-watching this event? Eric Adams' polyamory argues revealed alongside his criminal case because he was using one of his concubines for crime. Now, this is why I am better than the likes of people who are bad at their jobs. When I was talking about how Eric Adams was obviously an incredible meme potential many years prior and continued my support for Eric Adams, there were other incredible tacticians, brilliant political minds out there glazing him. Why? Because they're always wrong. And why? Because I'm always right. Here's Nate Silver, also known as Nate Copper. It's probably foolish to think a New York City mayor will successfully translate into being a national political figure, but I still think Eric Adams would be in my top 5 for who will be the next Democratic presidential nominee after Joe Biden. He's going to be good at getting media attention and has a chance of carving out a niche that's different from what other Democrats are offering. That's a potentially powerful combination given how primaries are conducted nowadays. Also, the competition isn't great. I need you to understand, these people have terrible political instincts. When I was at the cut telling you that Eric Adams undoubtedly will, 1, get indicted, and 2, be a spectacular failure across the board. There was the likes of Brett Stevens, who gets paid the big bucks to say Eric Adams is going to save New York. Look, I don't need to diss you off, but I'm particularly annoyed by all the savvy liberals who insist that Adams was a true moderate police reformer. All he did was shovel money to the NYPD, let them run as a criminal gang, do the bidding of real estate, and go clubbing as predicted. Exactly. Adam Johnson is correct. That is all Eric Adams did. And it's fun to have this moment of celebration. And I think it's an important moment of celebration because it shows once again how bad the political instincts are of the liberal intelligentsia and how utterly stupid they are and how much they just basically repeat and operate as a way of like normalizing dog politicians simply because they have arrived at a position of power and they are on the left flank, ostensibly, with right-wing ideals. That's simply all it takes for so many liberal intelligentsia to just simply say, it's great. This guy is great. Why is he great? Because he's like a conservative guy, but running on a Democratic ticket. He's got a D next to his name, and he's conservative. That's all it takes for mainstream media to immediately hype you up. No analysis, no serious look into the affairs, no serious interrogation of like what this person's point of view is and whether or not this is like popular, or even if it is popular, is this going to be good? Is his agenda going to be good for the population in general? Not even a little bit. You want a fun time seeing how unfathomably dumb all the most serious politicians and journalists are in America? Just Google Eric Adams date range 2021 to 2022. A treasure trove of how the discourse is controlled by colossal clowns. National Dems are calling a new communications expert, Eric Adams. Joe Biden embraces New York's mayor as crime wave threatens Democrats. Again, wrong. The crime panic in New York State almost cost them the elections in New York. You had Lee Zeldin gaining momentum as a direct consequence of Kathy Hochul adopting the fucking right-wing framing on crime. Meanwhile, it was literally the criminals themselves also conducting these affairs. The press and politicians were so desperate to delegitimize the George Floyd protests, and along came a tough black cop. It was like catnip or opium. Joe Biden embraces New York mayor's crime wave. New York's mayor as crime wave threatens Democrats. New York mayor offers National Dems a hand in 2024. I want to make sure the party retains the White House, Eric Adams said in a sit-down with Politico. Nate Silver also said he's going to be a glorious national politician. New York Post said, vote to save New York. Pick Eric Adams today for the future of our city. Brett Stevens, Eric Adams is going to save New York. Here is our favorite goat, Olivia Nuzzi, trying to get a prominent slot in the polycule. Also, another incredible hack, Olivia Nuzzi. I think she can write a decent article, I will admit that. But ultimately, once again, her ideological rudder is so firmly planted in the contrarian right and also busted her. I mean, she's just, you know, I need you to understand, okay? This is pure grit, okay? It's all access journalism. These people are simply regurgitating whatever is the best possible way forward for the Democratic Party to behave in a right-wing manner, okay? We have, over the past couple of decades especially, pushed further and further right, and the media has engaged in this circle jerk where there's no critical thinking, there's no adversarial journalism whatsoever. Every single thing that they do is basically an ad. And that is precisely the reason why so many of you at this point turn around and immediately adopt this right-wing framing and go, it's not for me, Hassan, but maybe it's for someone else out there who is more moderate. Maybe it's for someone else out there who wants more conservative positions to be repeated by Democrats. Understand that it is not an accident that you arrived at this conclusion that seemingly is not for you, but for the betterment of society. If a Democrat is the one doing these like right-wing legislative, the Democrat is like fulfilling the right-wing legislative agenda.
Negative interpretation of some of what you're doing right now, because your approval ratings, they kind of suck right now.
But it's supposed to. It's supposed to,
you were
because
at, what,
I'm doing hard
60% in the first year.
I'm doing
now
hard stuff.
You're down to 28%, which is not just a historic low
Isn't
for
that
you,
the
but for any mayor
order
in
that
the
was,
history of that.
Right.
So,
But what mayor has dealt with COVID, and 177,000 people dropped into this city without any federal support.
Sorry, that was gross.
These are hard decisions, and so
We're talking about immigrants here, by the way. Oh, the Eric Adams Poly thing is actually like a secret. It's not. No one has ever actually investigated it. It's like a New York journalist thing. It's like an open secret.
I would rather people say we're gonna take it out on you, Eric.
It's so funny for a New York mayor to be like, man, what the f are we gonna do with all these migrants? You're the mayor of New York City. What the f are you saying? This is the one area like around the globe where you simply cannot say that. Okay, it is a metropolitan city entirely built on unrestricted migration. Like I'm not even like Ellis Island is right there, obviously, but like New York City also has maintained its incredible diversity. What the f are we talking about? Like it is one of the most diverse places on the planet, dog. What do you mean, these migrants?
Can navigate us through this. It's my responsibility. I'm the mayor of the city. And I don't sit back and say, oh my God, my poll numbers are down. No, people are going to look back over this and say, this guy managed us through the crises. Because the legacy is not what people think of you while you're there. It's what people look back. When you compare what I have done to any other man in the history of this city, people are going to see what I've done. New Yorkers are angry. And so when you angry, who take it out on? The mayor.
Yeah. He's like, it's not that New Yorkers are mad at me because I suck and I just basically stole public funds and gave like additional tens of millions of dollars to my buddies in the NYPD, which I was a part of, remember? But actually it's because they just don't understand. You know, my mind works in fascinating ways, and these fools do not have the intellectual prowess to comprehend the machinations. Yeah, no, people were not upset that I closed libraries so I could put the Candy Crush Brigade in every metro station, in every subway station. It was actually because they just simply don't understand that these moves were for the betterment of society.
Some of the backstory here, because this comes after a string of searches and even resignations of top city officials. Are you seeing anything in the indictment that indicates more charges could come down?
Well, I'm still going through it. It's 57 pages, but Mayor Adams is the only defendant named in this indictment. So for all of the searches and seizures involving other top city officials of late, the federal prosecutors have chosen to indict only Mayor Adams.
Yeah, increased overtime for subway duty from $4 million to $155 million. And what did you have to show for that in revenue recovery? I believe it was $100,000 in revenue recovery from fare evasion. $100,000. Now explain to me if this is how you actively do good governing. Also, these freaks recently shot a bunch of people, including themselves. Remember, or maybe he just wanted to give his buddies more money. Eric Adams stole $10 million of public funds, so according to NYPD's math, that means he deserves to be shot 3,448,275.862 times. That's like, yeah, that's 3 million, almost 4 million times the fare evasion that he did with the $10 million of public funds that he stole. Why can't a politician in an amazing job just be happy like a great public servant making a few $100,000 a year and live in a dope house for free? Why do they immediately need to try to become corrupt multi-bajillionaires? Because you don't get to that, dude. It's the mayor of New York. The position itself is literally is designed so that you are hyper militant against like any poor person. Your job is to basically maintain. You're completely captured by real estate developers. You're completely captured by corporate landlords, and your job is to basically punish any non-white person or any poor person as aggressively as you possibly can and purge Manhattan from the unwashed masses. That is the only type of person. You're a Wall Street puppet. That is the only type of person who can ever get to that position of power in New York. He sounds like a normal New York mayor. That's the beautiful part about this. He is, and this is a very Trumpian phenomenon, he is a very normal New York mayor. It's just that he didn't do the proper paperwork, number one, and he also went above and beyond in his corruption. And he did it in a very way. I also do personally believe that, this is a byproduct of capitalism withering away, like the institutions and even like creating people that are not even interested in hiding their graft, right? Hiding the obvious theft of public resources. Like they're just becoming more obvious with the ways in which they steal. That's all it is. And it's Trumpian. Trump did it very out in the open too. And what are the consequences for it? Basically nothing. As long as you are buttering the bread of those wealthy people in positions of power, most people usually turn a blind eye to this. As long as you also follow the proper protocols. That's why I always laughed about the Bob Menendez stuff too. Like he is like historically corrupt, and he still got elevated by the Democratic Party. Even before this second indictment and federal investigation into Bob Menendez, he already had that exact same investigation once. One must ask the question, are the Democrats this stupid? The answer is yes, they are very stupid, for the record. They are very, very stupid. And the ways in which our politicians like grift this way gets dumber and dumber and more transparent every day because they don't even feel the need to hide this. These vulturous monsters are basically eating away the corpse of American empire.
Adams, at least for now. That doesn't mean charges couldn't be superseded. There could be additional defendants. But for now, the mayor is the only one. We should say that even before the indictment was unsealed, federal agents arrived at Gracie Mansion to give the mayor a summons to appear in court. We still don't know when that date will be, but we believe it'll be early next week. He was also searched again at Gracie Mansion, and there was a subpoena for his electronic devices. So now twice in less than a year, Mayor Adams has had his devices seized by federal agents.
One of the funniest aspects of this is that there is like a legal way of doing this. Like the American government, American governance, the American structure has basically serialized and processed bribery as long as you do the proper paperwork. That's why it's so funny when these guys are like, man, I really want to just like get outside of the realm of lobbying. Like the difference between what Bob Menendez does and what every other politician does is that he doesn't have the proper paperwork from like a fair registered lobbyist. You know what I mean? That's the difference. They didn't fill the proper forms in this circumstance, you know? Here's some really funny moments from the indictment, okay? 1, Eric Adams got a voluntary meeting with the FBI, excused himself to go to the bathroom, and deleted messages and communications that they were asking him about in the bathroom break. Adams' staffer also agreed to speak with FBI agents and falsely denied the criminal conduct of herself and Adams, among others. At one point during her voluntary interview, the Adams staffer excused herself to a bathroom and while there deleted the encrypted messaging application she had used to communicate with Adams, the promoter, the Turkish official, the airline manager, and others. Incredible stuff. More on that front. The indictment claims that Adams' campaign staffer told a potential donor that Adams probably wouldn't want to accept illegal donations, but then checked with Adams and learned that he was actually totally cool with it. On June 22nd, 2018, the same day as the fundraising event just described, the Adams staffer and the promoter discussed by text message a possible trip by Adams to Turkey. The promoter stated in part, "Fundraising in Turkey is not legal, but I think I can raise money for your campaign off the record." The Adams staffer inquired, "How will Adams declare that money here?" The promoter responded, "He won't declare it, or we'll make the donation through an American citizen in the U.S., a Turk. I'll give cash to him in Turkey, or I'll send it to an American. He will make a donation to you." The Adams staffer replied, "I think he wouldn't want to get involved in such games. That might cause a big stink later on, but I'll ask anyways." The Adams staffer then asked, "How much do you think would come from you?" The promoter responded, "Maximum 100K. The Adams staffer wrote 100K. Do you have a chance to transfer that here? We can't do it while Eric is in Turkey. To which the promoter replied, "Let's think." After this conversation, Adams staffer asked Eric Adams, whether the Adams staffer should pursue the unlawful foreign contributions offered by the promoter, and contrary to Adams staffer's expectations, Eric Adams directed that the Adams staffer pursue the promoter's illegal scheme. He was like, "Yeah, no, I would like that very much, please. Can you prove that this wasn't you?" Adams staffer says, he's also asking, where else can they go in Turkey? Do you have a recommendation? Airline manager says 4 seasons. Adams staffer says it's too expensive. Airline manager says, why does he care? He is not going to pay. His name will not be on anything either. Adams staffer says, super. Here are some of the benefits that he got that were not disclosed. India via Turkey, free upgrade to business class for 2 on a round trip from New York to India. $12,000 value, upwards of $12,000, not disclosed. From France, Turkey, and China, free business class tickets for 3 on a round trip from New York to France, Turkey, and China. Heavily discounted stay in Bentley Suite of St. Regis in Istanbul. $41,000, not disclosed. China via Turkey, free business class ticket for 2 on a round trip from New York to China. $16,000. Hungary via Turkey, free upgrade to business class for 2 on a round trip from New York to Hungary. $12,000. Turkey, free upgrade to business class for 1 on flight from New York to Turkey. Free stay in the Cosmopolitan Suite of the St. Regis Istanbul. Free meals, transportation, and entertainment in Istanbul. Upwards of $9,000. Turkey, solicited and accepted but then canceled. Free upgrade to business class for 2 on round trip from New York to Turkey. Free or steeply discounted luxury hotel and resort stays, transportation, entertainment, and meals. $21,000. Ghana via Turkey, free upgrade to business class for 2 on round trip from New York to Ghana. Free meal and transportation during Istanbul layover. $12,000. Not disclosed. Isn't that a tiny amount of money to throw your life away for? Yes. However, he did a load more. He did a lot worse. But this is like the highly illegal stuff that is above board. You know what I mean? It's just like over the table, incredibly illegal. Another conversation with Adam Staffer said, make it look real. He is being watched. Turkish Airlines tried to charge Adams $50 for a last-minute flight, and a staffer responded, let it be somewhat real. It ended up being $1,100, and he got upgraded to business class for free. I love that they were also aware that they were being watched, and they still did it anyway, which is very respectful. What's in it for Turkey, though? I mean, it's obviously there are some aspects of the pay for play scheme was to speed run the process of like the fire department doing checks on the new Turkish embassy. Some of the things that they demanded was that he deny the Armenian genocide. You know, Turkish soft power at play, baby. The ultimate Eric Adams thing is that the feds have this message. Eric Adams, the defendant, continued to conceal the benefits he received from foreign nationals seeking to gain influence over him. Adams did not report any of the 2019 gifts he received from the airline manager or the promoter on his annual disclosure form. In addition, in March 2019, while exchanging text messages to plan another possible trip to Turkey in which the airline manager would arrange travel for Adams, the Adams staffer texted Adams to be on the safe side. Please delete all messages you send me. Adams responded, always do, which is also funny because like obviously you can recover deleted messages. How is a cop so bad at hiding this stuff? Guys, what are you talking about? It is precisely because he is a cop that he didn't think of the law. Cops are the people that know the law the least. That literally is one of the most prominent reasons as to why he was so transparent with his obvious schemes. Because cops are technically above the law and they violate it all the time. And they demonstrate their lack of knowledge or interest in learning the law regularly. That is the whole reason why he probably was like, yeah, whatever, I'm a fucking cop. I've been violating the law all day, every day since the beginning. Anyway, this was a fun moment here as well. Eric Adams claims he changed his cell phone password to prevent his staff from deleting any messages or information. Unfortunately, he told investigators he immediately forgot his new password and so wouldn't be able to assist them in opening his phone. Okay. He also got bribery for Armenian genocide denial. On April 21st, 2022, the Turkish official messaged the Adams staffer noting that Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day was approaching and repeatedly asked the Adams staffer for assurances that Adams would not make any statement about the Armenian genocide. The Adams staffer confirmed that Adams would not make a statement about the Armenian genocide. Adams did not make such a statement. That's like, I think that's one of the saddest aspects of this kind of back and forth from the Turkish side is that the things like their demands are so silly. Like it's like, please don't mention the Armenian genocide. We'll give you $80,000 worth of free trips. It's like really, dude? That's a big thing that you got out of this? Like, it just makes me feel kind of sad. Israel's out there openly being like, give us $7 trillion right now. And like, Turks are just like, please don't recognize the Armenian genocide. Israel's like, we are doing a genocide. You need to give us more weapons to continue doing the genocide. And on the Turkish side, it's like, please don't mention the Armenian genocide. It would be really sad. It would be really bad for us if you mentioned it. Oh, God. The government alleges that Eric Adams placed a Turkish Airlines executive Jake Öcal on his transition team in exchange for free upgrades on Turkish Airlines. In early December 2021, Adams announced that the members of his transition committees, which were established to advise the mayor-elect and his team on policies and appointments before he took office. Initially, there were no members of the Turkish community on any of the committees. On December 8, 2021, the Adams staffer sent the airline manager a link to a list of Adams's transition committees and asked the airline manager, have you looked at the list? The airline manager responded, it would suit me well to be the lead or senior advisor. 2 days later, the airline manager sent a message reiterating, lead please, smiley face. Otherwise, seat number 52 is empty on the way back, meaning that if the airline manager was not given a position on the transition committee, it would affect Adams' travel benefits from the Turkish airline. Eric Adams and Cenk Öcal here prominently displayed at a Turkish Airlines party, by the way. This wouldn't be the first concerted effort at Armenian genocide denial in New York City. Israel's public image campaign is pretty shoddy, but nothing compares to Turkey hiring a multiracial pogo stick flash mob and skywriters to deny the Armenian genocide in New York City. Russia plus Armenia. It looks like Adams' war on rats should have been waged closer to home. The feds clearly had access to the panic cleanup attempts by Adams and his crew after the investigation began. While the straw donor scheme outlined in the indictments is meatier, Adams seemed easily bribed by luxury gifts and accommodations provided by Turkish Airlines. Eric Adams seems to have been wheeling and dealing with the Turks from what is likely Osteria Labaya, the fancy restaurant run by a pair of convicted money launderers. He goes to Labaya practically every other day. The self-proclaimed vegan almost always gets the branzino. That's another funny part about Eric Adams that was like immediately. Eric Adams is like that one friend who lies for no apparent reason. By the way, if you recall, if you've been in here for a while, you already know this, but like Eric Adams would regularly lie about that you don't have to lie about, including, but not limited to, being a vegan, okay? Like, it's like tiny things that play no role in his campaign whatsoever. And yet he did it anyway. Eric Adams sought donations from the Turkish government and government-affiliated businessmen, which they gave through straw donors and through which the Adams campaign got 10 million in matching funds via New York City's matching funds program. This is, as far as I know, separate from the previous Eric Adams straw donor scandal involving his old NYPD buddies, and in a minor role, the girlfriend of a displaced pollster who popularized Abolish ICE before taking a job with Sam Bankman-Fried. Who is he talking about, I wonder? New York political journalist, it is time. You need to confirm the long-standing rumors that Eric Adams is in a polyamorous relationship. DM now. So this is why I said it's like a known secret in New York City journalism that Eric Adams has been in poly relationships, but no one has ever. I think they just think it's too personal and irrelevant, I guess, to like really cover. Oh, that was another fun Eric Adams moment. Remember his supposed cop friend who died, whose picture he kept in his wallet, but it was actually a stock photo that he had his staff manually age? Yeah, that was fun. I'm telling you, this is why I say he's like such a funny character, because he like lies about irrelevant shit that he does not need to lie about at all.
All right, at this point, everyone is probably aware that Elon Musk appears to have a weird but profound fetish for active litigation. And with how slowly the court system typically moves, it must feel like he's edging 24 hours a day. Wait, hold on. Let me phrase this episode's intro like a prompt from the actual game that we're going to be talking about. Blank cannot come without being blanked. If you guessed that Elon Musk cannot come without being called a you're only half right, but we'll give you points for trying. Clearly, the answer is that he cannot come without being sued. And luckily, one of the largest party games of a generation, Cards Against Humanity, is now suing Elon Musk for trashing some land that they purchased in Texas a few years back during a very successful marketing campaign that, in part, attacked Donald Trump's attempts at building a border wall.
Well, this one's gotta hurt, because you know he loves Cards Against Humanity. It is the perfect game for people with his very specific sense of humor, which is doing puns, yes, and being random.
The ultimate take right now, the reality bending take, would be Elon Musk posting, "Unfortunately, Cards Against Humanity has gone woke."
Yeah, it's coming. It might have already come. But first of all, it feels like we should start with the fact that neither of us really care for the game itself. We've previously stated that anytime someone brings out a copy of Cards Against Humanity at a party, it's a good sign to start heading for the door, because you're about to see a bunch of normies nearly choke themselves laughing at jokes that they'd fit in perfectly at a frat house or early seasons of Family Guy.
That's the level of...
That's being unfair to Family Guy, I think. It only works if you all are on the same wavelength in terms of humor, and you're in a group of naturally funny people.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
That's why Quiplash works, because you have to come up with the answers. They're not given to you in a randomly assorted pack of cards.
But even with Quiplash, like, the person who just writes like cummies is gonna, like, they're gonna win half the time. Just people are like, oh my God, I can't believe they wrote that.
They said it.
But having said that, some of their marketing campaigns over the years have been pretty entertaining. A few years back, they raised the price of the game on Black Friday, and it still shot to the top of many most purchase lists at the time. One year, they sent out boxes of literal cow shit to paying customers. So good thing. And in one of their best promotional ideas, they simply dug a giant hole and refused to stop digging until people stopped sending them money. The urge to dig.
Yeah.
The natural human urge.
And the urge to watch someone else dig if you can't do it yourself.
Keep going.
And look, they've definitely had their share of controversies over the years in what is a great example of cultural shifts and their willingness to adapt to that. It should go without saying that jokes that were normalized years and years ago might not fly today, and that's a good thing. And for the most part, the creators have acknowledged this, apologized on occasion, and removed certain cards from copies of the game. But aside from that and the fun, essentially pointless marketing stunts, the creators have raised a ton of money for multiple charities and also spent a significant amount of time allowing their fans to collectively prank politicians with billboard takeovers, donations to abortion funds, and of course, the campaign at the center of this new lawsuit, Cards Against Humanity Saves America, which, among other things, purchased a plot of land along the Texas-Mexico border with the intent of making it as annoying as humanly possible for former President Trump to build his border wall on that land. From their website at the time,
last month, 150,000 people paid us $15 to save America with 6 days of incredible stunts and surprises. For day one, we used some of the money to purchase a plot of vacant land on the U.S.-Mexico border and retain a law firm specializing in eminent domain to make it as time-consuming and expensive as possible for Trump to build his preposterous wall. The whole legal process will take quite a long time. Who knows? Maybe longer than the current president will be in office.
They were right.
For however long it takes, we are ready for a protracted resistance to any attempts by the government to build a wall on this land. Signed, their lawyers at Graves, Doherty, Kieran, and Moody. And now, 7 years later, that campaign has inadvertently drawn another egotistical maniac into its orbit. Elon Musk, whose rocket ship company, SpaceX, decided to dump a bunch of shit all over Cards Against Humanity's land, resulting in this new multi-million-dollar lawsuit. So here's the Texas Tribune with more on that.
The game company Cards Against Humanity is suing Elon Musk's SpaceX for $15 million, accusing the corporation that launches rockets from Texas of illegally trespassing on South Texas land and destroying property. The lawsuit, filed in Cameron County, was posted on a website the company is using to call attention to the civil battle. The suit claims that SpaceX has used Cards Against Humanity's once pristine property filled with wild grass and cacti and changed the entire dynamic of the area by using the land as a construction staging site. SpaceX acquired vacant lots along the same road as the property and has constructed buildings around the area. According to pictures included in the lawsuit, the property now looks like an unfinished work site filled with machinery and piles of materials. If Cards Against Humanity wins the lawsuit, it said they will equally split the lawsuit's net proceeds among all 150,000 of the contributors, up to $100 each.
Oh, wow.
Which is the hashtag for people that did contribute back then is Elon owes me $100.
Yeah. That's a hell of an investment. 150,000 people gave us their hard-earned money, and in exchange, we vowed to protect this land from racist billionaires and their dumb vanity projects, the company said on their website devoted to the lawsuit. Cards Against Humanity isn't alone in criticizing SpaceX's arrival in the region. In a Reuters article published Friday, several people across South Texas, including residents in Brownsville, have voiced their concerns about Musk's encroachment on their properties, saying that this is an example of unchecked expansion. And on the website that they've created for the lawsuit, they posted some pretty shocking examples of Musk's company appearing to do whatever the hell it wants on property that legally doesn't belong to them. Along with the photos, they added, just look at it. He fucked it. Elon Musk's SpaceX was building some space thing nearby, and he figured he could just dump his shit all over our gorgeous plot of land without asking. After we caught him, SpaceX gave us a 12-hour ultimatum to accept a lowball offer for less than half our land's value. We said, go fuck yourself, Elon Musk. We'll see you in court. And the website also includes links to coverage, the lawsuit itself, pre-made prompts for contributors to the original land purchase, and a counteroffer. They'll also accept Twitter.com as compensation.
He can finally get out from under this albatross around his neck. He can just give Twitter over to Cards Against Humanity.
Well, Twitter.com, which it's just redirecting to X.com, the everything app.
Well,
so
they should update their wording then, because his lawyers will just have a field day on that. Anyways, since we're on the topic, we should probably point out that the self-proclaimed politically moderate Musk has continued to throw any nuance to the wind by recently claiming that if Kamala Harris wins the U.S. presidential election, not only is humanity doomed, but also he's not going to be able to take everyone to Mars anymore.
I would have loved to have done it, but Kamala became president. So now no one can go to Mars. We were totally on track to do it.
We were on. We were going to start next year. Everyone was going to have and it was going to be free. You're all going to get to go to Mars. And by the way, everything on Mars is perfect. And it's beautiful, and we're already growing lots of stuff there and other things that are totally made up. But yeah, it's a great scapegoat for something that absolutely was not going to happen in the near future anyway. Now it's Kamala's fault.
Yeah, he can use this. He makes a lot of promises that wind up not panning out.
Yeah.
And now he's got the perfect excuse every time that happens.
Yeah, it's a blatant example of the type of complaining that we are going to see from him and other billionaires in the near future. Oh no, my shitty AI platform isn't saving the world because of Kamala Harris. She's just going to become the stand-in for the word woke.
Yeah.
Oh, my bumper robot can't ship to consumers because of Kamala Harris. Oh, boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. And this is, of course, in spite of the fact that the U.S. government, especially in Democratic-run administrations over the years, has given his company billions of dollars in funding and tax breaks. Here's what he said in a recent tweet that was way too long to read. Sorry, happy for you or sad, whatever. I don't have time for all that.
I ain't reading all that.
Here's part of it.
One of my biggest concerns right now is that the Starship program is being smothered by a mountain of government bureaucracy that grows every year. The stifling red tape is affecting all large projects in America, which is why, for example, California has spent around $7 billion and several years on high-speed rail, but only has a 1,600-foot section of concrete to show for it.
That is fake news. Yeah. You literally fought tooth and nail, against any forward progress on California's high-speed rail and promoted what turned out to be a failed company with a bogus product in order to trick people into deprioritizing and defunding the high-speed rail project because you said, quote, public transit is a pain in the ass. And you think it's gross to be surrounded by strangers. Also, they've completed way more than that.
Yes.
This is a thing that, like, it's so weird. This started within the last year, and all of they took information from like 2018, and they're just presenting as if it's the current state.
Because they know that everyone on the internet, what are they going to go drive up to like Fresno and check out what's being constructed or whatever? No.
Yeah. Also, I mean,
or the one to Vegas. Yeah.
I mean, the biggest reason why it's taken so long and been so expensive is that California, California, if you want to call it, has some of the strongest like property rights in the country, and it makes it really fucking hard to do any public projects that require eminent domain.
Yeah.
So this is one of many examples of California actually being like
a very conservative
state. Not just a very conservative state in some ways, but like the state that invented specific branches of conservatism that still persist to this day. Anyways, it continues.
While I have many concerns about a potential Kamala regime, my absolute showstopper is that the bureaucracy currently choking America to death is